The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the Our Culture, Our Stories podcast are those of the individual hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policies or positions of the NAACP or any affiliated organizations.
My work is being a soft place for people to land. Like when I walk into a room, I don't walk in the room like, wait till they get a load of me. I walk in the room like, who needs me? Somebody, I'm here because God put me here for a reason. And that's literally how I walk on sets, how I walk into events, how I go to the grocery store. And none of that is about a spotlight being on me and anybody thinking I'm great. I'm all right. I'm a nice person. You know, I love the Lord. Those things are all true, but I don't need anybody to think I'm just the best. I don't think of myself that way, and I don't need anybody to think of me that way.
If there were ever anybody that we believe stays true in the spotlight, it's Yvette Nicole Brown. And you added another name onto that.
Yeah, there weren't enough names. I'm Yvette Nicole Brown Davis, legally, but
yes.
For performing, it's still Yvette Nicole Brown.
Yes. Well, congratulations, because you'd still be considered a newlywed, right?
Yeah, it's only been, I think, two months and a week.
Yeah. I would say that's newlywed. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. He's a good man. He's a good man.
Brothers know.
Yeah.
I saw an interview that the two of you did, and I said, wow, he's solid.
He is. He's a solid man. I tell everybody he's very kind, and I've been telling my friends and young women that I talk to, and even older women around my age, you know, we make these lists of what we want our whole lives, and kind is never the first thing I hear from people. I hear tall, rich, good looking. Kind should be number one, right? You should be right there with loves the Lord and kind. And usually, if you're kind, you love the Lord. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But yeah, he's a very kind man, and I think that's the greatest thing about him.
Awesome. Let's talk about Yvette Nicole Brown before we get into the meat of the conversation, or I should say another part of the conversation, because it's all meat, right? But let's talk about the little girl, Yvette Nicole Brown. You're born in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. East Cleveland.
What's life like at East Cleveland as a little girl for you?
Oh man, I grew up in a single parent home. My mom and dad got divorced when I was young. So it was just my mom and my brother and I, and it was a lot of love. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was a lot of love. My mom is the one that taught me about kindness. She's the one that taught me about seeing people and being an outward facing person. My brother and I, we joke all the time that, you know, it was great that it's a beautiful way she raised us, but it kind of has been hurt us through the years, because we always expect other people to care about others the way we care about others. And so we end up casting our pearls before swine. We have through the years. But I never regretted it, because I also remember what Mr. Rogers said. And he always said, be one of the helpers, or look for the helpers is what he said. And I kind of feel like my mother raised me and my brother to be one of the helpers. So when something's going down or going wrong, me and my brother are the kind of people that will go running in to try to see who we can help. And again, that's been wonderful for us spirit wise, but at times it's been a little, you know, spirit killing. But I'm learning how to pick and choose who I give my all to. I try to give my best to everyone, but I kind of have to be more strategic in who I give my all to. And so that's been something that I've been learning through the years. But being in East Cleveland and caring about people, it created a really lovely community. I still love my hometown. I still visit my hometown often, and I still have a lot of friends from my young years that I'm still friends with now. I've got some friendships that are 40 years, 43. My oldest friendship is 43 years at this point. Like
and you're like 45.
Yeah, sure. I'm 53. But my oldest friend that I talk to consistently, I met when I was 10 years old, and I have other friends that are in that same grouping. So that's the Midwestern upbringing. We hold on to people and take good care of people.
Absolutely. I'm born and raised in Michigan.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers, which Mr. Rogers was that you were quoting?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, as in
the Mr. Rogers. Is there another Mr. Rogers in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood?
Well, no, that's what I mean. I still know the theme song, and I watched
so do
it
I.
every single day.
Absolutely.
You know the theme song?
Of course, I know the theme song. And would you be my neighbor? But the thing is, he always taught young kids to look for the helpers. If something is going wrong, there is always someone nearby that is there to help you, and you will know them. And I think it's biblical. I think you'll know them by their love. Now, it's not about stranger danger or anything like that. But like, if something's going wrong, there is somebody there that you can see is helping things become better, and you look for those people. Or if you're able, become one of those people.
I don't know that I've ever interviewed a sister who quoted Mr. Rogers
Really?
and carries that throughout her life. And I was a huge, huge Mr. Rogers fan, and
Yeah.
I do know the song and can recite it to this very day, word for
Absolutely.
word, the
Absolutely.
melody, and
Yep.
all of the above. But not to make this about him, but I didn't really realize the life lessons that I would carry with me as a result of a show as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm believing we're probably in the same generation. If you love him like I do, we were blessed with Schoolhouse Rock, and we're the first generation or the generation and a half to have Sesame Street and Mister Rogers and Captain Kangaroo. Like, we really grew up learning about community and all races coming together and celebrating each other. And Mister Rogers came up at a time when I think the day he had the postman, he washed the postman's feet, and that was a time when black people weren't even supposed to be together on a television show. So he really was a groundbreaking man, and I think our generation got the best. We got after school specials and a very special episode of something. We grew up with Norman Lear shows, so we learned what racism brings. We learned how things can be better when we work together, and how love is the answer. Our generation did, and I hope we can do a better job of teaching the younger generation those things.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
Absolutely good stuff. The 56th annual NAACP Image Awards just took place
Mhm.
recently. You've been nominated
I
for
have.
NAACP Image Awards. Take us back to the first time that you were nominated, and what was that feeling like?
I've been blessed to be nominated 3 times. First time was, for voiceover. The second time was for my film, Always a Bridesmaid, that I wrote for BET. It's still streaming on BET and, Netflix. And then the third time this year, I was nominated for my podcast, Squeeze. It's so funny. I'm actually wearing my shirt that I wore in all the promo shots for Squeeze, so I kind of look just like my podcast picture right now. And
It's
then
working. It's
I
working.
yeah, thank you. And I have an NAACP award. I played Michael Bivins' mom in the New Edition story, and we won for best miniseries. And so I got my NAACP Image Award for that. So that was pretty exciting to see my name on one of those awards.
Why is the NAACP Image Awards necessary, in your
Well,
opinion?
it's funny. I want to reference someone that really was instrumental in them existing. Tony Vaz, who we lost this year.
Mm.
She and another woman created the Image Awards. She didn't create the actual ceremony, but she created the idea that we needed the Image Awards. And Tony's reason, Miss Vaz's reason for doing it, was she felt like there were so many images of Black people that weren't uplifting and encouraging and wonderful, and she felt that it would be really great if there was a award that was for the positive images that we put out. And so she said we should have something that's called the Image Awards. And so she created that. So I agree with the late Tony Vaz that it is necessary. And she was a groundbreaker in our industry. She was a stunt woman, and was really wonderful. And I want to say this. I know this is. I'm gonna take this moment because she's
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
2025 class of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and so she has a foundation, and they're raising money now to make sure that she can get her star because she's earned it. So I want to make sure that I say her name so that those that are part of the NAACP or who love the Image Awards, that they will consider helping Tony, who created this great thing, to get her star on the Walk of Fame.
Thank you for that. Where
Mhm.
does this consciousness come from with you? As I mentioned in the open, whenever you show up,
Mhm.
and your voice has become something that people look forward to hearing from. Uh, your openness and transparency, integrity, you speak truth. Where does that come from? Is that come from your mom and the way that she raised you in East Cleveland?
Yeah, my mom, may she rest in peace. She raised me and my brother to be conscious people. She raised us to be people that care about other people. I've never in my life made any decision based on it being good just for me. It can be good for me, but it can't be good just for me. It has to be something that benefits the greater good. I think that we are all, God placed us all here to take care of each other, and I believe I am my brother and sister's keeper. And so I don't live life selfishly. I don't live life focused on myself, and so that means that I am conscious of what's happening in the world. I'm conscious about what's happening in politics. I'm conscious about what's happening in the mental health space. And I want to always be an asset. I want, when I enter a room, I want people to smile. When I leave, I want them to go, oh, I'm sad Yvette had to go. I want it to be that type of experience. And that is within my power to do that. You just got to be a decent person and take care of people. And I wish more people knew what a great feeling it is to care about people. It's really a really breezy way to go through life. And I like that I leave a sweet aroma and not a stank. So
Ooh,
I really try to be a good person. And so but that came from my mother, because listen, I've been quoting Tabitha Brown a lot recently, how she always says, she ends her lives and stuff by saying, try to have a good day, but if you can't have a good day, don't go up, don't make anybody else's bad, right? She says it better than me, but that's the gist. And I just feel like if everybody tried their best to have a good day, to be a good person, and if they're not having a good day, to not destroy someone else's, we all would be better. And I mean, if that started in the White House right now, if that thing in the White House actually tried to not
mm,
destroy other people, imagine where we would be. Imagine where we'd be.
yeah.
Mm.
What was your mom's first name?
Francinia.
Francinia.
Call her Fran. Little Franny. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, the whole entertainment industry thing.
Mhm.
And first, I want to know, and I guess I shouldn't say thing, but the whole entertainment industry, right, that you're doing.
Mhm.
You've done television, you've done movies, voiceovers. You are doing the doggone thing.
Thank you.
Uh, One, what would you be doing if you weren't doing what it is you're doing currently? And two, how did this happen for you? Some young girl, or maybe not so young, or young man, or not so young, will see this and wonder about how did you go from that little girl in East Cleveland, Ohio, to being this, what we consider one of our queens, a superstar.
Ugh, that's wow. I hear Queen and I think Angela Bassett or Loretta Devine or Marla Gibbs, but thank you for that. I would be a kindergarten teacher if I wasn't an actor. I love 5 and 6 year olds. I was a day camp counselor for 2 or 3 summers when I was in college, and I love the idea of catching the babies before they have their teeth kicked in. You know what I mean? So they still got a little bit of joy. You can catch them right before they start to think it's what's the point. So I love that age. So I would have been a kindergarten teacher. Um, and I started as a singer. I've said this before. I hope anyone watching is not like, oh, here we go again with the Motown. But I was signed to Biv 10 Records, Michael Bivins' record label, when I was a teenager, and I was signed to Motown. And I thought that I would be a singer. And I was in the East Coast Family, and I was, with Boys to Men, and did the video and the song, and really thought that would be what I would do. And then by the time I finished college and moved to LA to pursue music, the industry had gotten a little dark, and everybody was singing about sex and throwing each other against the wall and all that. And that's not me. And so I was like, I know that I can't sing those types of songs. So I shifted to acting and started doing commercials. And then it turned into, I did 2 episodes of Girlfriends. And then I kept working. It just kept going. And here I am, almost 25 years in, and I'm still here. So that's how it came to be. But I always feel like I'm still a teacher at heart. I feel like I still use my platform to teach. And I'm vice chair of a great charity called Donors Choose, which is a charity that helps teachers and students. So I still feel like I'm a part of classrooms, and I feel like I'm still giving something to children, and even more importantly, right now, to teachers who they're not paid what they should be paid, and they don't have the resources they need. So I love that I'm a part of something that can help classrooms and students in public schools. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
As I mentioned, you've played lots of roles.
Hmm.
You've done it all, doing it all. What roles are closest to you that you've played? What roles really resonated with you? Something that you've been a part of, and afterward you said, "Wow, what just happened?"
Uh, it's hard to answer that question because I've done so many different things. I think with Girlfriends was resonated with me just because, I say this all the time about Robbie Reed, amazing casting director, Robbie Reed and Mara Brockakil, who was the creator of that show. I had no credits and I had just gotten dropped from my agent when I sent my postcard, a little postcard resume. And there's no reason those women should have brought me in to audition. And there's no way or reason I should have booked that show. And that's just God. And so I'm always just like, I can't believe that that happened to me in that season of time. So Girlfriends is big in that way. And then the first pilot I ever did was called The Big House. And it was Kevin Hart and Keith David and Faison Love. And these were really, this was Kevin Hart's first sitcom. He was just starting out. And I just couldn't believe that the same pilot season that I booked Girlfriends, a month later, I'm on my first series. Like it all happened so fast. So those two things in particular, in regards to what resonates where I'm pinching myself, there's been two later things. I had a role in Avengers Endgame. What? How does that happen? And then Inside Out 2, I did a voice in Inside Out 2. And those are $2 billion movies.
Yeah.
What? So those are the milestones that stick out for me right now in particular.
So we see you the way that I described.
Mm,
You don't see yourself even remotely close to the way I described.
mm-mm.
It's like you're not conscious of all that you are.
No.
And where does that is
Uh,
what is that about? Is
you
that
know, I don't know. Like I've always been Yvette from East Cleveland, little Yvette from East Cleveland. That's the way I've always seen myself. And I also don't, I don't know. I don't the idea of celebrity and all of that. I don't traffic in it. I don't understand it, and I don't seek it. I really don't. My goal is to pay my bills with acting money. Like to build a career in this industry, to do game shows and talk shows and voiceovers, and to get to pay my light bill with that money was the only goal. I don't move through life like a celebrity. I go buy my own groceries. I'm out. If you see me out, I'm by myself. I'm very approachable. I don't have an entourage. I do my own hair and makeup most of the time. Like I just am not that girl. And I don't want to ever move as if I'm that girl. Because I think when I stay grounded and I stay East Cleveland, that's what helps me do my work. And my work is not acting. My work is being a respite for people. My work is being a soft place for people to land. Like when I walk into a room, I don't walk in the room like wait till they get a load of me. I walk in the room like who needs me? Somebody, I'm here because God put me here for a reason. Somebody needs me in this room. So let me figure out who needs me. And as soon as I spot them, I'm right there. And I'm right here. And we are having the moment. And when that moment is done, I'm looking for who's next. And that's literally how I walk on sets, how I walk into events, how I go to the grocery store. And none of that is about a spotlight being on me and anybody thinking I'm great. I'm all right. I'm a nice person. I love the Lord. Those things are all true, but I don't need anybody to think I'm just the best. I don't think of myself that way, and I don't need anybody to think of me that way. If when I pass away, when I go on to glory, if there's a line of people saying she helped me, she spoke into my life, she encouraged me, she was kind to me when I was going through something, that's what I want. Not she was the prettiest or the most famous or she had all the awards. That stuff's nice, but that's not what we're here for. So I don't, and there's no shade to
yeah,
anyone that does do that. Like the three ladies I just mentioned are huge to me. And
yeah,
nothing is taken away from them because they are super famous and they are queens and icons. I just don't see myself that way. And I probably never will.
yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
do.
That's nice.
Yeah, 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 we do.
Yeah.
What comes to mind when I say these two words, black woman?
Mm. Powerful, um, resilient, smart as a whip, principled, unappreciated, um, cast aside often. I think of Malcolm X's quote, I think he said it best, the most disrespected, unprotected. And I feel that, in this most recent election, I think proved that. And I think there's a lot of people that are maybe wondering, well, why are they so big on the 92%, 92%? Because that's us celebrating and supporting and uplifting ourselves, because yet again, we did all the heavy lifting for this nation. And yet again, this nation as a whole let us down. So we are celebrating and supporting and holding each other up as we lick our wounds one more time, because people didn't listen to the Black woman and didn't want to elect the Black woman. So, yeah.
Do you think, your opinion,
Mhm.
do you think that the nation realizes that they got it wrong
Oh, yeah.
and that they should have
Oh,
taken
yeah.
a chance on a black
Oh,
woman?
yeah. And it wasn't even taking a chance. She was brilliant and would have been
Yeah,
great as a president.
yeah,
In their eyes, it
yeah.
was taking a chance because they
Yes.
don't see
Yeah.
us and don't realize how great we were. But yeah, I think a lot of people now realize it, and I think a lot more. And the sad thing is, we're all talking about the find out phase. It's just tragic that those of us that saw this coming have to find out too. Because if Social Security is taken away, if Medicaid is taken away, if our food is no longer inspected, if the air is no longer there's no inspectors to make sure that our air quality is good, if global warming continues to grow, if we can't drink the water, on and on and on, that's going to kill all of us eventually. All of us are going to suffer. So as much as I can put a feather in my cap and go, yeah, we knew and we told you, it doesn't change that we have to endure this horrible time with this horrible man and that little imp that's the two imps that are next to him. This is about to be really, really bad. And I've been warning people how bad it's going to get. And I hope people are prepared. I've been telling people, you better start growing some food, and you better make sure your passport is up to date. And, if you can get solar on your house, you might want to do that. You want to stock up on water. Like, this is about to really get bad. I talked to a friend of mine who's a public person, and she told me recently that she lives in a house and she doesn't have a gate. And I said, if you have any money to put a gate in, you need to put a gate in. And that's where we're at.
Sure.
That's where we're at. And I think I not to be too heavy, but I think we need to,
No, this is a
while
real
all it,
conversation.
yeah, everything that we're seeing play out in Washington, especially with that Musty dude. I don't honor him with the name. He's Musty to me. Musty running amok and getting into all the government agencies. Um, this is dangerous. And then you have a demonic imp who hates everybody that's not white and male and rich as the president. This is feeling like Nazi Germany 1939 to me. And it feels like, you know, in a minute, we're not going to be able to leave. In a minute, we're not going to be able to protest. And so I'm trying to tell everybody, while we're still able to speak up and call our congressperson and plant a garden and put up gates and check their passport, do it. I have a friend born and raised in Los Angeles who now lives in Portugal. She saw the writing on the wall 6 months ago and started the process. I just found out recently Portugal is like, y'all can't come no more. So in a minute, there's going to be countries, and rightfully so, by the way, because with
Yeah.
the display we just saw play out in the Oval Office the other day, this man in that little eyeliner wearing imp he's got next to him basically just declared that they are no longer allies to our allies. You got the other one, Musty, talking about we should leave NATO and the United Nations, which basically aligns us with the bad actors in this world. So why would any democratic sovereign nation allow people like us in? Because they don't know that there's good people here. And in their eyes, y'all voted for that dude. You're not getting rid of that dude. You see that he's causing problems and you haven't impeached that dude. So you must like what he's doing, which means how do you prove I'm one of the good ones? I remember I have one of my white female friends, when the 92% happened and we found out that a lot of white women said they were going to vote for Kamala and then didn't. She was waving a flag like, no, I really voted for her. And I was like, that's nice that you say it, but how do I know? How do I know
Yeah.
what you did when you went in there?
Yeah.
Respectfully. And so I kind of feel like other nations will be like the same way. Like, why? how do I know that you're one of the kind people that, you know, wanted to help Ukraine and didn't want Gaza to become, waterfront property?
Resort. Yeah. Resort. Do you think
Resort.
that do you think that uh, the people that you talk to who
Mhm.
perhaps did not believe 2025 Project 2025 was real,
Mhm.
the people who didn't believe that this guy really wanted to be a dictator on day one, as he said,
Uh-huh.
is that more of a not wanting to believe that from the people that you communicate with regularly? Because you stumped for Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah,
You did
I
some
did.
campaign
Yeah, I hit
for
hit them streets, boots on the ground.
yeah, yeah. You was out in them streets.
Mhm.
Um, is that more of a don't want to know? Do you think from you traveling, or did people really know and just didn't care? It was just all
I I
about.
think I think they were racists who didn't
Mm,
wanna vote for a black woman, and I think they used eggs and the idea that Project 2025 wasn't real to hide the fact that they were racist and sexist and didn't wanna vote for a black woman. And the other thing is, I think from what I'm seeing, their little, videos of regret, they didn't think it was gonna affect them, which is even worse because they were okay with it affecting other people. Like even some of the Latinos who voted for Trump saying, I thought he was only going for the criminals and not my grandma, So or I thought they were going for other people. The point is, I think of the brilliant Jane Elliott who did all those seminars with white people, and she would say, do you know this horrible stuff is happening to black people? And they would go, I don't know what you're talking about. Black people have it great. And then she would go, who in here wants to trade places with a black person? And no hand would go up. And her response was, that tells me that you know it's bad, you know it's not fair, and you don't want it for yourself. And so I say the same thing about the people that are now like, what do you mean you're coming for, my Affordable Care Act? You said you were going for Obamacare, meaning I wanted you to lose your health care, but I didn't want to lose mine. I want you to lose, your health benefits or your SNAP benefits but don't come for mine. So that means they like the cruelty. They just
yeah,
wanted to land on someone else's front porch. And that to me is disgusting. And insofar as people that I talk to all the time, I don't talk to anybody that supports that man on the regular. And I had a couple of conversations when I was out on the stump with for the brilliant Kamala Harris, but otherwise in my life, anyone that believes that that man was the answer is no longer in my life. So, and it was like maybe one or two that I was surprised to realize, oh, you're a racist. You see me as one of the good ones. Yeah, no more. So I think
yeah.
it's that, and like I said, sadly, we're all about to go through some things, and it didn't have to be this way. And that's the thing that bothers me. I remember one of the things that Kamala wanted to do is she wanted to do to bring Medicare home. I'm a caregiver for my dad. It's been 12 years, and he had a fall recently, and he no longer walks. So I could no longer take care of him in my home, right? So the first time in 11 and a half years, he's at a boarding care, which is like 15 minutes from my house. So I see him regularly. But it's different than having him with me. Kamala's proposal would have been able to get the care that he gets at the boarding care in my house. I could have had someone come here and Medicare would have paid for that person here. And I could have kept my dad with me. And because people didn't vote for Kamala, so many of us caregivers are going to miss out on the opportunity to have our loved ones with us. And that breaks my heart for me and for them and for the caregivees who are going to lose the ability to be with their family members. So there's so many, I could list 1,000 things that would have been different had people voted for that woman. And I'm going to ah, ugh,
Yeah, I feel it.
yeah.
As it relates to the entertainment industry, is there a particular time that you felt seen as a black woman where you've worked on something and you
Mm.
just felt
Yeah,
elevated as a
yeah,
black woman? Because we're talking about Malcolm X's quote,
yeah.
we're talking about your descriptions of when I say the words black women, which was a circle of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Mm-hmm.
circle of amazingness, powerful, beautiful, but also
Unappreciated. Yeah.
appreciated.
Disrespected, tossed aside. It's funny. At first, I was, my face did something because I was like, never, and then I was like, that's a lie. I was blessed to do.
Oh, is
I've been
that why
blessed.
you had that?
Yeah, that face, like, I couldn't think of it, but I think the reason I didn't think of this instantly is because I'm still so heartbroken that it doesn't exist anymore. But anytime basically that I've been blessed to work with a black female showrunner, it has been amazing. So working with Mara Akil on Girlfriends was amazing, but also working with Allison Fowles, who created Act Your Age. I got to do this great show, me, Kim Whitley, and Tisha Campbell, created by the wonderful Allison Fowles, who I'd worked with a couple of times before on other shows. Um, it was wonderful getting to go to set every day with a sister at the helm, working with other black women, the cast and crew in the writers room. We had other races there, but the majority of the people that were there creating this show were black people. And most of them were black women. And so it was like a sister friend hang every day. And we were creating something that was really powerful and really important. I've done a couple episodes of the Upshaws. And again, Regina Hicks and Wanda Sykes are the showrunners and the creators over there. Same thing. I wish they would let black women lead more. Most of us, for the most part, that are black, our mothers led the household in a lot of ways, right? But daddies were there, but it was more the matriarchal vibe. A black woman kind of is the one that creates the feeling and the vibe of the home. And it's the same thing if you have a black female executive on a show, or a black woman network exec, or a black female boss. It's a more nurturing, loving vibe for the most part. So Act Your Age was magical. And I'm still hoping and believing that Netflix or some other network will realize that it needs to be picked up, because it was a good time. It's a good time filming it. It was a good time to watch it. It's still streaming on Netflix if anybody hasn't seen it.
Act Your Age.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds when you and I'm familiar with it. I've not seen it, but I'm definitely going to check it out. But when
you'll
you
love it.
say your age, it just sounds as if eh, it's
That
like
we
my
ain't.
life story. Sounds
Yeah.
like somebody saying it.
Yeah.
Somebody saying it to me.
It's like
Act Your
Whoopi
Age.
Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg called it the golden brown girls. So we're all in our 50s on the show, and it's kind of like a golden girls
Mm,
with black women. But it's us. So you know how Kim looks and how Tisha looks and how I look. So we don't look as old as the Golden Girls. They made the Golden Girls look, because they weren't old either, but the show made them look
right.
like they were just powdered wigs and all that. So it's just it's a black Golden Girls, which was really wonderful to do.
Yeah, love that.
Mhm.
Black women, as it relates to self care.
Hmm. What's that?
What That's
What's
what I
self-care?
wanted.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
exactly
I don't
what
know.
I want to know. Does the dialogue need to change as it relates to black women taking care of themselves? Because you just said, "What's that?"
Yeah,
Which
and
would
I'm in
lead
it.
me to believe that y'all ain't not. I'm not saying y'all as in all, but oftentimes you put everybody before you put yourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just talking to my husband about this because he always wants me to do more for myself, because he sees how much I do for everybody else. And my response to him, he's like, you should go get your nails done, or go get a massage, or go take yourself to the movies, like go have a day. And I'm like, when would I do that? You know what I mean? Like I caregiver, wife, dog owner, I work, and to his credit, which I know for sure he is my grace gift from God. He takes very good care of me. If I took care of myself the way Tony takes care of me, we would not have to have a self-care conversation. Tony is my self-care, really. But I have not yet flipped that switch to figure out, how do I prioritize myself? Because for me, I feel, and it's probably a lot of black women that feel this way, I feel selfish taking time for me. That hour getting my nails done, or that hour getting a massage, I could have called my congressman. You know what I mean? I could have sat with my dad for an hour. I could have, talked a friend off the ledge. for that hour, you know? And I know that sounds crazy even saying that, because they always say put your own oxygen mask on first. I just have been getting by with 50% oxygen for so long. I don't even realize that 100% oxygen exists, if that makes sense. So it's been just basically, that's been life. And, you know, until I figure out how to do it, I don't know how to do it. I really don't.
Wow.
I know it's sad. Even saying it, it sounds really sad, but I
Wow.
know I'm not alone. I'm not alone in that.
Well, I don't know that it sounds sad. I think it sounds like that's been your reality, and that it just is. It's one of those things that it is what it is. And so I
It's what it
think we
is.
would agree that the dialogue definitely needs to change, because I know a ton of women just like you.
Mhm.
I'm married to
Mhm.
one of them.
Mhm. Yep.
And it's like, why don't you go and do, why don't you, why don't you, go, everybody, everybody before yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
I had dinner with friends recently, me and Tony, and my friend's husband makes massage appointments for her. He will just
oh,
make an appointment and he puts it in her calendar. And he told me that she will see it and still say, I can't go. So their kids have been having a great time going to her her massage appointments. But he's trying, like he's doing his best to get her to take care of herself. And she still is like, no, let the kids go. Let one of the kids go instead. I still have to finish this. You know, so some of it is society, and we just have too much to do and we work too much. But a lot of it is us not choosing ourselves. And it's because we're not used to choosing ourselves. We're not.
so
So
many black
yeah,
women have not been able to choose themselves. So when you
right.
talk about being raised by a single mother, you're
Yeah,
raised by a single mother, they did what it is they had to do. And
right.
self-care was just not one of those things.
No. And you model the behavior you see. In the same way, I'm kind because my mother was kind, or I'm a hard worker because my mother was a hard worker. I don't take care of myself because my mother didn't take care of herself. You know, so it's all you know, a part of it.
If I should see you and Tony, I'm going to remind you of this conversation
Please
and
do.
ask how you're doing with that. And
Yeah,
we're hopeful that you will change, that dialogue will change for you,
I
because
hope so too.
we want you to be around and we want you to be healthy.
Yeah,
And so we need you to just do a little better.
yeah. I
Just,
got to do better.
yeah, just a teeny weeny uh, bit better taking care of
Yeah,
yourself. What kind of dog do you have, Nicole?
I have a cocker spaniel. Got him. His name is Harley. Got him on the set of I did a Disney reimagined a lot of their cartoons a few years ago, and they redid Lady and the Tramp. And my dog Harley was one of the doubles for Rose, who played Lady. And so I left that film with a dog.
Yeah.
So my dog looks like Lady from Lady and the Tramp.
Oh wow. We had a cocker
Yeah,
spaniel. My daughter
yeah,
had one growing up.
yeah.
Great dogs.
Great dogs. Mine is a
Yep.
maniac though. He's
Yours is
really
amazing.
he's untrainable. He's untrainable. He
So
literally does whatever he wants to do.
he runs the house then. It
Yeah, he runs
sounds
the house.
like, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So Tony got a wife and a dog.
Yes. And I told Tony the other day, I was like, well, you know, Harley's getting older. Don't you want to get another dog? He said, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not. No. But Tony's doing a great job of disciplining and training Harley, because I'm too big of a softie. You know, you had a cocker, so you know cockers that when they turn those big old eyes on you and they cock their little head, and Harley will do this thing where he like wipes his eyes with his little paw, and I'm like, oh come on, here's a treat, come on.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm a softie when it comes to that, and Tony is like, no, we got to train him, so he's getting them together.
yeah. He's got you wrapped. What would you say to Francinia if you were to have a conversation with her today in this moment about your journey since she's been gone, about
Oh,
life? What
yikes!
would you say to her?
That's so hard, because it's like not hard. That's not the right word. That's such a loaded question, because my mother, I believe that when my mother went to heaven, she absolutely said, "Hey, Lord, let me holler at you for a minute," because so much in my life blossomed in ways that she and I prayed for once she
Mhm.
passed. And I really do believe, and I've said this to other people that have lost their moms in particular. I think that there's things that happen for you after they go, because I feel like you have an absolute angel advocating for you up there. Tony and I both think that our mothers are the reason we got together, because Tony reconnected with me after my mother passed. Like, once my mother passed, his mother had already passed. And when my mother passed, he found me. He found me online and was like, "Are you okay?" Like, he wanted to be there for me. And I really feel like that was my mother and his mother whispering in his ear. And then I got my first Emmy nomination, maybe a month after my mother passed. I was in Ireland shooting a film, and um, got the notice that I had booked this, that I got an Emmy nomination while I was there. So it was probably a month after my mother had passed, and everything is just, I see blessings everywhere, and I know it's her. And I posted recently. Ever since she passed, I find hearts everywhere. I saw a heart in the clouds yesterday. I buttered a biscuit yesterday, and the butter came out as a heart. It's just, I know that that's her saying, "I see you. You're moving in the right direction. It's going to be okay." So what I would say to her is, "Thank you." I would say to her, "I hope I'm making you proud." I would say to her, "I am so grateful that the more I age, the more I look like her." I ran into one of her friends recently, and she told me like how much I look like my mom, which is just so awesome to hear. And I hope that I'm living up to the woman she always thought I would be. And one of her greatest dreams for me, even though as I got older, she stopped saying it because I think she felt that it hurt me to hear. She wanted me to find somebody. Like, she wanted me to have love in my life. And she had been married a couple of times, so she had had love a few times in her life. Um, None of it stuck. The guys, she really loved my dad. She probably should have just stayed with my dad, but she really felt that that was the one thing I was missing, and she really wanted that for me. And she knew that I had given up on it, but I don't think she ever did. So I think, you know, I would thank her for bringing Tony into my life. And the saddest thing for me, besides not having her, is I just know she would have loved Tony. She and Tony would have been like this. So
Yeah.
part of me is just like, I'm sad that she never got the experience of this wonderful man, but I know that in heaven she gets to see it and is very happy. And I am very proud of myself for getting through that without crying. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Uh, I lost my mom about 3 years ago,
Oof.
and
You still in it. That's fresh.
yeah, it's when I talk to people, I tend often to ask them about their mom or someone
Mm,
that they were very close to is no longer who's no longer with us. I was in LA walking down the street last week, and
mm,
my mom and my stepdad loved to go to a place called Clifton's Cafeteria, which is
mhm.
100. I don't know. It was like I think 1930 or something, or the
Yeah.
20s, down LA. It was cafeteria food, and you put your tray up there, and they
Nice.
scoop the stuff out, scoop the potato. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, and they loved it, and it was like fine dining to them.
Hmm.
And I got to the corner of this restaurant where the restaurant's located, and it just hit me.
Yeah.
Just like what hits you when it comes to your mom? Things that take you to her, or memories. Uh, and when something hits you, it just means that the love is
Yeah.
never ending.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, um, the love is equal, the grief is equal to the love, right? So we are, if you had a great mother, if you had a
Yeah,
loving, fun, amazing mother, which I did, you're supposed to be tore up. When they go, you're supposed to be devastated, right? So that is what I tell myself when it gets to be a little bit too much, that I lean into it, because the thing is too, I'm 4 years in and I still never know when I'm going to cry. Like you couldn't have told me that I could have gotten through everything I just said without crying. But I never know when it's going to hit me. I could be watching a television show and it hits me. But the thing that reminds me the most of my mother, that I miss the most about her, is my mother was so funny and silly. Like she used to say this thing when me and my brother were growing up, you laugh to keep from crying. So
Okay.
whenever something was devastating or really hard or unexpected in a bad way, she would laugh. She would find a way to make a joke out of anything. And I think that I have that gift. And so what I miss the most about her is laughing with her. I miss watching television shows with her. Me and my mom would, we loved Grey's Anatomy, we loved Downton Abbey. And so we would have appointment television where I would go to her house or she would come to mine, and we would sit on, watch our television shows. So things like that I miss. What I tell people who still have their mothers is, one, cherish her. And I tell them to please, like, record her. Get your video camera out and talk to her. Ask her about what it was like to be a teenager. Ask her what it was like when she met your dad. Ask her what her first job was like, and record it, because when they go, the thing you missed most is just hearing their voice. You just want to, and it's better if you can have a conversation. You can hear how you two, interacted, so I try to remind people of that. Yeah, it's
That's great
rough,
advice.
right? Yeah, and I'll
That's
say
great
share
advice.
something else. Yeah, that Wendell Pierce shared with me. He said, continue the conversation. And he said that when
Mm.
his mother passed, he said, when your parents or your mother, your dad are still here, you ask them questions. Like with my mother in particular, like if I'm making, she had certain dishes that she made, and so if I was ever making one of the dishes she made, I would call and be like, "Mama, you put the paprika in first, or you put the egg, where the egg go?" And I would ask those questions of her and my Aunt Mickey, who's passed away as well. And Wendell said, continue the conversation. So while I'm cooking now, if I'm making home fries that my Aunt Mickey used to make, I'd be like, Aunt Mickey, do I boil the potatoes first to soften them? And I swear I hear, and I bet I didn't told you 5 times. I swear I hear her. And I hear my mother, and I speak out loud to my mom. I'm like, Mom, what do you think? Do you like this outfit? Should I wear the belt? And I swear I will hear her go, now I don't know about that belt, Yvette, because sometimes I can hear her. So you continue the conversation, because they're not gone. Energy never leaves. I can feel my mother standing next to me right now going, oh, it's a good interview, baby. Go on, tell them about me. I can feel it. They don't leave. So in the same way, like Wendell said, just continue to have the conversation. There's times I'm riding in my car and it'll be like my favorite song will be playing, or a song that my mother loved as well. And I'll turn the music up and I'll look over at the passenger seat and see her there with me. And we are just riding down the road enjoying our song. So the time with her does not end. And so I just remind people of that.
What kind of music did she like?
Oh, she loved her some CeCe Winans. She loved Diana Ross. She loved Luther Vandross and Anita Baker. A lot of my musical tastes, the music that I love the most to this day is stuff that my mother listened to. My dad
Sure.
loves the Temps. I play the Temps with my dad. So it's just that the Motown generation was big for them. Gospel music was big for her. Whitney Houston, like she just loved, the singers, and Barbara Streisand
Think.
and Johnny Mathis. Lord, Denise Williams. I recently met Denise Williams. I did the Masked Singer and I sang Let's Hear It for the Boy. And I heard from Denise Williams saying, you did a great job with my song. She said, everybody don't do it well, but you did a great job with my song. And she and I have become friends now. And she's become a mother-like force in my life. And I told her, I
Oh
said, you don't
wow.
understand. My mother gave me you. Like my mother raised me listening to you and Johnny Mathis. And now you're in my life. And I feel like she just gave you back to me. And so it's just little things like that. So music was very important. And I honor all the people she loved. I love all of them as well.
Wow. And as you're talking, I hear Johnny Mathis and Denise singing that
Yeah.
song.
Whoo, too much too little too late. Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah. What you know about that?
Yeah,
What you
she's
know
lovely too.
about
Denise Williams is a
that?
lovely human being, like just great. She came to me and Tony's wedding, and she's wonderful.
That's awesome. Your
Hmm.
mom is still doing what she's doing,
She really is. She really is.
transcending the.
Yeah, you'd have loved old Fran. Fran was a good
I
time.
already know. I already know. I already know. You
Yeah,
are her,
yeah.
and she is you.
That makes me happy to hear that.
When you talk about Denise Williams, and
Mhm,
I think about sisterhood and
mhm,
friendship and mother figures.
mhm.
Are there any roles, uh, television or film, that remind you of powerful
Oof.
uh, female relationships, black women or women in
Yeah.
general?
I mean, Waiting to Exhale. I'm working with the fabulous Leela Rashawn right now. We have a show on BET Plus called The Family Business New Orleans, and getting to
Congrats.
work with Leela and just that she knows where all the bodies are buried. Leela has been in this business since she was 19 years old. She was dancing with Lionel Richie in All Night Long video was the first thing she ever did, and then of course Boomerang and Why Do Fools Fall in Love and just so many films. Um, I she in every film she's done pretty much has been like strong, powerful women. Anything Loretta Devine is in, anything at all, just strong, powerful women. Um, it's Felicia Rashad is so big in my world. Lynn Whitfield, there's so many great movies and great entertainment that just where women shine. There's not enough opportunities for Black women to shine, but I'm still hoping they bring Girlfriends back in some way. Go on, get them back together. Let us see that again. I don't know if I answered the question, but
Yeah,
that's
no,
what comes to
absolutely. The first thing you said was waiting to exhale.
yeah.
So if they were to do a remake of Girlfriends
Mhm.
and they did a new cast,
Yeah.
they changed the cast out. Who do you think would
Would be of the
fit?
young people would be in the cast. Ooh, of a new
Yeah,
girlfriends. I
yeah.
think Yara Shahidi should be up in
Mm,
there. I think Kiki Palmer should be up in there. Who else do I love? That beautiful Ryan Destiny should be up in there. Tiana Taylor would be great in a Girlfriends reboot. Um, oh my gosh, there's so many talented young ladies. Yeah, Zendaya, but Zendaya's off doing all the films. She's in all the
yeah,
films.
yeah. She's a big
She'd be
star.
great.
She's a
Like
big movie star.
I'm just a big star. But I'm just picking
Yeah,
people that I think could fit into the roles
sure.
as they are. Yeah, that'd be a good reboot. Or if they did Girlfriends, bring all the originals back at the age they are now. That would be really
Yeah,
interesting. I'd love to know where they
there's
all
no
ended up.
there's no expiration on being
There isn't.
girlfriends, right?
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. When you do it right.
Yeah, I like that. Kiki Palmer, you as you know, was NAACP Image
Right.
Awards 50th
Entertainment
annual
entertainer of the year.
entertain, Entertainer of the Year. What'd you
Yeah.
think of her speech?
I think Kiki, everything she does is just brilliant. I've known her since she was like 12 or 13 years old. I did an
Mm,
episode of True Jackson VP with her. And I knew when I met her then that the sky was the limit. There's a few people I've met. Donald Glover is one of them. Kiki is another, where there's certain people that there is nothing creative that they can't do. Kiki can do everything. She can sing, she can dance, she can act, she can draw, it's like she just is gifted in every area. She has never changed. She has always been 100% authentic. And, she was in that category with a lot of heavy hitters, but Kiki is the entertainer of the year. Kiki is entertaining in conversation. If you catch Kiki just in the produce section at the grocery store, she's going to have you cracking up. Like she's just brilliant.
yeah,
We did this thing. I did Password with her a couple years ago, and we had this
yeah.
thing that went viral about Black women intuition, and we really had a mind meld. And every sister that watches this knows that we can do this. We vibe with each other. It's like I don't know if it's the
I
drums
saw
from
it.
Africa. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but we just know we can hear each other when we're not speaking. We can see on each other's faces what each other means and wants and needs out of life. So yeah, Kiki's she's the tops to me.
This was wonderful and powerful, and
Awesome.
and we know it would equally be as equally powerful if you were here with us. So we really appreciate you. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't cover in this hour? by all
You know,
means, we'd love for you to
well,
go ahead.
I do want to be encouraging to women of a certain age who have not yet found their good thing, if that's what they choose. And this is the other thing I want to say: everybody doesn't have to get married. Everybody doesn't have to be in a relationship. But if you do want that, I am living proof that it could tarry for a very long time. But delay is not denial, and so I just want to make
Mhm.
sure that I plant that in the hearts and minds of any woman of a certain age like me that feels like time is running out. I promise you, it's not. And that's if you want it. If you don't want it, keep on being fabulous and live your life as a single person, and life is great. I know I enjoyed my life as a single person, and I don't feel like any of those years were wasted. But I'm saying, if you do desire to have love in your life, romantic love in your life, don't give up and don't settle. The right man for you, the right person for you is out there. So just hold on and keep believing. So I do want to make sure that I put that in. And then also, again, Family Business New Orleans, BET Plus, every Thursday.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the Our Culture, Our Stories podcast are those of the individual hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policies or positions of the NAACP or any affiliated organizations.